Alright, so the next thing is we'll learn how to do color grading with Final Cut Pro. Okay, so to do that, we select any of the clip. For example, I have many clips here, and for you to do color grading on or color correction on any of them, you just select one of the clips and do your color correction over there. And then after you color correct it, you can now copy the properties into the other clips that you have. Okay, so let's say we select this one as the first clip that we want to color correct. So you can come over here to this small magic wand, okay, and you just come to this small drop down arrow and you just click on it. So the first thing I used to do is I do color balance or balance color. As you click on balance color, you can come over here and enable these property settings, and you can see it over here. So this is balanced color. You can uncheck this to see the difference. It's just a little bit of balance in the coloration, but it's very, very small. You can see it. I've unchecked it and I've checked it with color balance, without color balance, with color balance. I think it's kind of visible, but it's very, very small. So that's the first thing. It gives it a little bit of a balance, and then you check the method over here. You just click on this and make it white balance. Okay, so you just make it white balance, and you can come over here and make sure you select this color picker. You just identify a white position in the video and just make a click of it, and it will automatically change or adjust the coloration of that particular video clip according to the white balance. So it will identify that place as pure white. So you can select anywhere, maybe this place or maybe within the shed over here. Can just make a selection, and you can see it has given us a little bit of adjustment. Okay, so you have selected the white area and it has given us that change. All right, so the next thing is we move to the main color by coming to this small tab over here. We just click on this and you have a series of color effects that you can apply to your video. For example, down here we have the coloration, okay, where we have the global color, which is this one. Then we have the shadows, which is this one, the midtones and the highlights. So I'll show you how to edit and what effect all of these will have on your video clip at the beginner level. Okay, so next we have the saturation, which is the amount of color you have on your video. You can reduce it or you can increase it accordingly using these very different features. We have the global feature, or we have the shadows, midtones and highlights. Then we have the exposure, the rate of exposure of the image. You can control that also from the global perspective. When you use these, you can increase or decrease, and you can see the global exposure is being increased, or you can bring it down to the barest minimum. You don't want to make it too much because it will be too dark. You just have to tweak it a little bit to some extent, and then you can play around with the shadows. Can increase or decrease the shadows. You don't want to make it too much. You just want to make it a little bit, just a little bit of the shadow increment. You can see the percentage, just 8%. I think is good. Then you can play around with the midtones. Okay, areas that are lighter or darker, you can make them a bit light, and then you can sometimes bring it down to minimize the exposure. Okay, then we have the highlights. You just make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so you can see it's now looking much more better and professional. All right, so the next thing is we have the color. Okay, so we can do the same with the color on the global scale. We can play around with the coloration, and you can see we can make it a bit warmer, or we can come down here and change the coloration very nicely. You can see as you move around, you'll be able to see the changes at global scale. Okay, so but you don't want to go crazy with this. You just want to make a little bit of the touching. Okay, just very little difference. And then you can come out to the shadows and make a little bit of an adjustment as well. So just very little adjustment. You can see you can make the needed difference. Okay, so you can make the midtones as well. You can just vary it a little bit, because if you go too much, you can see it's getting colder, but then you can bring it back to warmer a little bit, and then you can come down to the highlights. Okay, the highlights also the same thing, just a little bit of the tweaking, you can see can result to that particular change you are looking for. Then we go to the saturation. Okay, saturation also is the amount of color that is in the video clip, like we've just explained. So you can go from the global scale, you can make it saturated, meaning having too much color, or you can make it darker, which means if you come down to 0, it removes all the coloration. So you don't want to go this crazy with it, so you just stay a little bit at the middle, and then you play around with the other features like the shadows and midtones as well to increase the sharpness and the saturation in terms of the coloration. You just want to make sure you get it a little bit. Okay, so you can see from here we are getting it kind of perfectly. We don't want to go too much, but we just want to make it a little bit higher so it becomes a bit warmer. So you can see now, I think our image is now quite beautiful. Our video is now quite beautiful. So we have done that only to a particular clip. Okay, so this particular effect, if you want to copy it to the other clips like this one, all you need to do is just to come back here, right click over here, or just come back here and just come to edit and come to copy. So it's going to copy everything, and then you can highlight the remaining clips that you want to paste on. So for example, you select this one, you can hold down the shift key and select the remaining clips. Okay, with the shift key pressed down, you can just right click, or you can come to the same edit. Okay, so you can come to paste attributes over here. You just click on paste attributes, and what do you want to paste? We just want to paste the effects. We want to paste color board 1. We want to put everything effects and color board 1. That's what we want to paste, and once we click on paste, it's going to take in that particular difference, that particular changes that we've inserted here, and it's going to carry it to all the other clips that we have. So basically, this is how to do some basic color corrections and color grading to your footage using Final Cut Pro.